Hello, this is Sabina at Crosskeys Crafts with the Visible Image Artist Trading Card Swap for February 2024, and the topic this month is Love is All Around. And if I say the video for this, a little disclaimer, I have already prepared the components for my ATC. Reason being, I wasn't quite sure whether my mojo would be there, so I had a little play and I've settled for something, but the techniques I used for these components, I want to show you that on my main card that I will send with the ATC. So I actually might show you this first. I started with my card base here, which is for an ATC is 2.5 inches by 3.5 inches, and I've used my heart stencil here to ink up a little bit on this. I was aware, I cut this down afterwards actually, I was aware that this would not obviously fill the card, and you can't really tell from this that this is a heart shape, but I thought if I have the matching card with it, the recipient will see where this is from. I've also stamped here a little bit. This is a little circle, and I'll show you which stamp set this is from. This is from the 99% chance of wine set, and it's just this little ring here, and I thought that would look nice to just have in the background, and I just stamped that randomly with my VersaFine Clair Charming Pink, and the blending, by the way, I did with my fuchsia, but I'll show you that in a moment. I just want to tell you about my stamps that I've used. I've got this Sending Love here. That is actually part of this sentiment, sending love at Christmas, from the Christmas Robin stamp. But I show you how you can actually just stamp the top layer. And my main image is this little cupcake with the hundreds and thousands, and I thought that would be really nice. I don't have anything love related in my stash, but that's what I like about these swaps. You can basically use anything and just get creative with what you have in your visible image stash. So, as I said, I will show you what I have done with the main card. First of all, I think I'll show you my cupcake. These are drying at the moment. I've created two. The middle one was a bit double stamped, so I just used that to wipe off my little pearls here. So I first of all I stamped it in my VersaFine Clair Black Onyx, and then I just coloured, the paper case just in with two Kuretake pens. Any pen obviously is usable, but the problem is, because I used it with my VersaFine, I can't use alcohol markers because that would smear. So I used the 25 and the 21 to colour that in. Afterwards, just to blend it in a little bit, I also went in with my shimmer pen. I don't know if the camera picks that up. I also went down, first of all I did the stripe, alternating stripes, and then I just went in a little bit with a darker pink, and then sort of try to blend it in a little bit to not have it too regular. So, and these hundreds and thousands, I created them with 3 different media, and I want to show you that. Let me just put this out of the way so I don't put my finger in it. So, first of all, I used my Artistro paint marker pen. These are the glitter pens, and they're really lovely. So I just used that and just dabbed it on. It is quite wet, the tip. So let me zoom in for you. Lower my camera as well a little bit. So I don't know how well the camera picks it up, but this was really easy to do. So I tried to do it really randomly. It was only afterwards that I saw I had left quite a few dots that I needed to fill again. So then I used my stickles. This is the cranberry. And with the stickles, it's important, just zooming out again, just a little bit, that you turn it over, have it upside down and squeeze out a little bit. I just did this on scrap paper before, but I can also do it on the side because I will fussy cut this. Just make sure it's flowing nicely. And then I can basically just put this on the paper with a tip, just squeeze a little bit and come off. and this is really easy. It makes a little bit of a little tip, a pointy tip. Let me just see, they can see there. Doesn't focus properly, and I put my finger in it. Let me just see if it focuses, but you might be able to see it anyway. But once it dries, that will actually disappear a little bit. I found they don't stay as pointy, and even if they do, I quite like the three-dimensional look of that. So, and then I found in my stash these 3D pearl effects from Dovecraft. I think I got these from Poundland, and again, same application, just test a little bit, put a bit of pressure on, and then you can apply these the same. And again, you've got a bit of dimension there. The important thing with them is, put my finger in it again, so maybe use a piece of scrap paper, is after you've applied them, you can use a pencil. I like to use my bone folder, and you give it a tap from underneath. Make sure you tap where you've applied them, and when you do that, they will actually flatten. As I said, I'm not quite sure how well the camera picks it up, but they will spread out just a wee bit, and the little tip on the top will disappear. So that's useful to know. So for my main card, I will recreate these techniques now for you. I have chosen a 6x6 card base. This is shopboard. It's probably 5x7/8 square actually. And I'm going to put some scrap paper on the inside because I don't want anything to end up on the back card. I might not fill the hole, I don't know that yet. I have got this stencil here. I will only use the outer. This is the hard ink stencil, and because I don't really have a lot of space to stick it down on the card, I will actually stick this down on the cardstock underneath. I'll also put another bit on the other side, being mindful not to obviously close those holes here. And I'm just using, I showed you that before, my Harmony Spectra Noir fuchsia. This is a water reactive dye, so any water reactive dyes, well, it doesn't have to be water reactive, but any dyes that are suitable for blending would work here. And just move that a little bit out of the way so I don't stain that. These are actually quite juicy. I've had them for quite a few years. So the important thing is here, I find that I'm holding the stencil down because the opening is quite big. And I want to come in with a heavier application on the shape here and then get a bit lighter in the middle. Sorry if I've got my hand over it, but I'm just trying to hold this down. So because I've got a brush with longer bristles, I need to be a bit mindful around the edges, which angle I'm using. So I try not to get underneath, but also try to get an even angle all the way around. And now I can take some of the ink I've got on the stencil as well and just blend that towards the middle. I think I'm happy with that. All I need to do now is just to fill in these areas here. You could, if you wanted to, use a smaller stencil brush for that, but I think I'm okay here. There might be a little hole there that I might not be able to get into, but that's okay. Again, I'm moving in, you know, circular motions, is that what it's called? Sorry, movements, just to make sure I'm catching every angle of those openings. Yeah, I'm happy with that now. So I'm leaving that to dry for a moment, because the last thing I want is for me to lift it up and then have any residue. I'm also checking that I've got nothing on my fingers. On the ATC, because I found the white a bit too harsh, I went round again just with the excess on my brush, just went round the edges there. You can see there's still plenty of ink there, so I'm just going around here, and that's one of the reasons why I've got that scrap paper there as well, so it doesn't go on the back. And I added another piece here so it doesn't end up on my craft table. So I like to go a bit heavier there in the corners, come in a little bit. I want to leave a little bit of white, but not all of it. And I'm not inking it up again, there's plenty of ink on my brush. So I think that'll do. So now I come in with my little circle stamp. With this one here, I mainly stayed within the heart and then did this here. I know I will put the cupcake over it anyway, so I probably with this one will have a fewer of those and just spread them out a little bit. And as I showed you before, I will be using the VersaFine Clear Charming Pink for that. So sorry if I'm going off camera, I'm just dabbing this on here. I need to be mindful where to put my sentiment. I think I will put it down here, so I'll leave that free and just going on here like this. And I'm rotating the stamp so it doesn't look the same everywhere. I'm also overlapping them a little bit. And I'm contemplating whether I want to come in with another stamp, because I've got a lot of space here on this front card. I'm not bothering about the middle here because this is where the cupcake goes. I think it would be nice to have a little stamp that might frame that. I'll have a quick look in my stash off camera, but if I can't find anything, I think I'll leave it. Okay, so I found a stamp, which are these little specks here from the Christmas Robin set. So I thought I'd go in with those, and I had a little trial run with various inks. I tried my Spectrum Noir Silver, that didn't stamp too well. I then tried, this is my Lisa Horton, this is a pink shimmer one, champagne shimmer, but the shimmer doesn't show and it was too close to the VersaFine anyway. Then I tried, this is the Elements Emperor Red, but then I reminded myself I've got a VersaFine Clear Tulip Red, and I thought the red would be a nice contrast to the pink, so I'm just going to do some random stamping in that. Again, I've just got this here on the side. Let me move this over just a little bit. And there's just a few specks of colour, but I love this little stamp. There are a few around the sets. I think there's also one with, I think the wine set maybe. They just give a little bit of texture and interest. So they're really versatile. And again, as before, I'm just rotating this a little bit so it doesn't look the same everywhere. Try not to be too symmetrical. Try to be a bit random. Put one in there. So I've got the sentiment here. Might come back in here, and I think I will have a few going off the edge here. Just again to give a bit more interest and make it look a bit more random. One down here. maybe one here. Yeah, I think that'll do me, and then come in with this one again. Yeah, I think I'll leave it there. Sometimes it's important to know when to stop. What I mustn't forget though is to add this little stamp on the ATC as well, just to tie this in a little bit. Obviously, you know, the recipient doesn't have to display them at the same time. It doesn't have to be the same, but I like it to be the same. I think that's enough. I quite like the contrast of pink and bright red. It's really nice, I think. So all that's left to do now on this card is to stamp the sentiment. I might add some sparkle afterwards, but that is just an idea at the moment. So for the sentiment, I showed you that this is the sending love at Christmas time, but I obviously only need the sending love. If I've got cheaper stamps, I like to just cut them apart. But with the more expensive stamps, I don't like doing that. So what I'm doing is I'm using some of my removable Scotch tape. You can use some washi tape. You can use some paper, like, you know, like a post-it note. And I'm going to cover the letters that I don't want to stamp, or the words I should say. This one needs a little bit more. And I also, if I've got tape, press this a little bit down here so it definitely doesn't come off. Here I need to be careful because the G touches the T there, so I need to be really, really cautious. Sometimes it doesn't stick as much as I like it to. It's only temporary, but I definitely want this to cover the letters properly. So I'm just putting one more here, and I'm pressing it down firmly, but I don't need. I hope the camera picks that up. So let me just get this a little bit out of the way because I've got a tendency to drop my ink pads. So now I'm inking this up, and I'm inking up in the sort of top half. I don't need to bother about putting it all over the stamp. Let me just show this to you. So this is what it looks like. And I've got some ink now, obviously, on the tape. So what I need to do now is, before I stamp it, I need to peel that off and dispose of that. And then I can stamp my sentiment. And I'm just putting it properly here at the bottom in the open area. Giving that a little bit of pressure, not too much. I try not to wobble. This is quite a big acrylic block for a smallish stamp. I said that recently in a video. I try to match the stamp with the size of the acrylic block. I find if the acrylic block is too big, I wobble, and then you get double stamping. So if I take that off now, it's actually, yeah, I could have stamped that a bit more solid. Let's just take these off here. This is a bit grungy, but I don't mind that. I think it looks nice enough. I'm just contemplating whether I need something else in the area here, or whether I should just go in with some glitter afterwards. I might just, no, I switch the camera off and I'll just have another little think. Yes, so I've made up my mind. With this one here, as you can see, I stamped over the pattern here, and I actually prefer that to the open area. So what I will do is, I'm just coming in with my stencil again, and I will put these specks here, whatever you want to call them, I put them here in this sort of area, avoiding this. I want this to be off the card so I don't have a harsh edge. Don't want to get too close to that actually. So maybe just about here, and I'm sticking this down on my papers here, but sorry, it's not in the right place where I wanted it to be. Just moved a little bit. So, but I think I also need to cover this a little bit here because I don't want to go over the edge there. So I'm just using some more tape. I'm just lightly placing this down there. So inking up my brush a little bit again because I didn't have much left on it. And as before, I'm just doing a bit of light stenciling. So I think that's all I need. Just get this out of the way. Yeah, I like that. So it just blends in a bit more. I might actually come in a little bit more with the very light application, just to take away from the harshness of the white there, and then that blends in really nicely. I like that. I like the fact that it's a bit hidden. It's a message. It's part of the pattern, but you've still got the sentiment there. So all that's left for me to do is, once my cupcakes have dried, all these dots need to dry, and I think I'll have to wait till the morning. I will fussy cut these, and then I will place them on the front of the card and the ATC. And then I think I will just finish this video with just a little snapshot of what they look like. And yeah, I think that's all I need to do. Yeah, let me say this here now, although obviously the video hasn't finished yet. Yeah, if you like this card and the ATC, you might want to give me a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more of what I'm creating, you might want to subscribe to my channel. I'd be very happy about that. And I'll see you soon with another video. As promised, I'm popping in the next morning with my, well, finished ATC. I've just fussy cut the cupcake and just stuck this down flat. I like the ATCs to be flat. But with the card, I had decided to put the cupcake on some foam pads, but even then I thought it's getting a little bit lost on the card. So I had to think of what I could add. And I had the idea of adding some material. At first I thought some ribbon. The problem with ribbon is you have to tie it in the back, and because I worked on the card base here, that wasn't an option. But I have got this mesh ribbon, came as a bow with a present, and I thought this would be really nice to add that. So all I want to do is just cut a little bit off an angle. And I'm choosing the one that isn't creased, that hasn't been used there. And I just want this to go across like this. So I'm cutting at this angle here. And I will just glue this down here with a bit of clear tape. Sorry if there's a funny gap in the video, I just had to cough and switch the camera off for that. So I'm just putting a bit of clear tape on just the middle bit here, where I will put this on, and then just goes on top. I'll probably put a bit of wet glue, just my magic glue, on here as well, just to make sure the foam pads grab. And I think that will add enough interest to make this cupcake not as lost. So I just wanted to pop in and show you that.